Yes, it'd be a fun story. Be a nice, they both get back together. Even if they draft a quarterback, Russ could be his mentor. Maybe the quarterback sits for a year behind Russ, whatever it might be. But in terms of like this having any significance to the league next year, like it'll be a story, we'll be into it. But no, I don't think they'd be a factor in the AFC at all. In fact, if I'm Russ, I would, and I don't know that the Steelers want him back, but if I'm Russ, I'd rather be with the Steelers. Because he could maybe similar type of thing, get to the playoffs again, have a decent year. I don't think their Raiders are making the playoffs with Russell Wilson next year. But yeah, sure, it'd be a fun story.
No, not at all. I don't want to see it happen. And I honestly felt like Pete Carroll just didn't want to say no. Like, you just don't say no in that situation.
Oh, you think that was a no?
That's pretty much a no.
Oh.
I mean, when you think about number one, a head coach coming in like Pete Carroll, you're not coming in understanding, okay, we're not going to be able to compete against the Denver Broncos or anyone else, obviously the Chiefs. Chargers and the Chiefs. You got a guy who was in this division with the Denver Broncos. It didn't work out. You bring him back to the Raiders. Now he would be the worst quarterback right out the gate.
But aren't they going to have the worst quarterback in this division no matter what?
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
It probably gives you the best chance to win.
Here's why. This is gonna go ahead.
No, I just don't. I'm not willing to say that Cam Ward or if they draft a quarterback. We just saw Jaden Daniels be one game away from the Super Bowl with a brand new coach.
No,
they got $100 million in cap space. We've seen these like.
So you don't want him, Russ? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just not willing to write off the Raiders 100% either way. We've seen like someone's got to be the surprise team next year, like the Commanders were, and with a high draft pick that you can need a quarterback and a ton of cap space and a seasoned coach that you believe in is a recipe for success.
I actually agree with all that. The point I'm making is whether they got Cam Ward or Shedeur or Russ or Sam Darnold or any of the ways they could get a quarterback, going into the year, we would say for the 2025 season, they have the worst quarterback situation in the division no matter what. I think you're misreading what I mean by that.
It feels like you're a huge Bo Nix fan all of a sudden.
No, gosh darn it. And
I'm just saying, Sam Darnold's out here crushing. I'm not willing to say Sam Darnold. Bo Nix is better than Sam Darnold.
I think that, and I'm not a Bo Nix guy, and I'll finish my thought in a second. I think that if the argument against Russ is he would be the worst quarterback in that division, I don't think that's a good argument against him because going into the year, no matter who their quarterback is, he will probably be ranked last in that division. Mahomes will be first, Herbert will be second, the whole world but me likes Bo Nix, so even if you like a rookie, he's still a rookie. If Darnold,
people might put Darnold.
And Darnold I just made up. Like Darnold's not, there's no connection, Darnold to the Raiders, whatever it is, Russ would be the case. The reason I think this would be smart is because there is a real value to a team trying to build a culture and teach professionalism. And the Raiders have had none of it for years. And I think Russell Wilson has been, and I hate to use this term because it seems so mean, but humbled professionally in a way where he's not going to have kind of the baggage that was associated with him in Denver. And I do think that as long as he's not blocking a young quarterback from playing, but given where the Raiders are drafting, I don't think Cam is a realistic possibility. Maybe
if you get a Jalen Milroe, you want him.
That's exactly my point. Like anyone else you draft, you probably want to sit for a year anyway. I don't think it's a bad idea.
Yeah. There's a lot that I want to say in this clip. And unfortunately, I don't know how much people are watching Raiders videos right now. But there's a couple things. One, first off, being humbled is not a bad thing. Being humbled is a great thing. It's part of life. I'm humbled like every single day, man. You got to be humbled. So it's not a negative thing. But also, having Wilds kind of call out Nick like that is pretty great. It made me realize the type of person that Nick is, the way how his mind works and why he kind of gets disrupted easily and gets angry, because when you throw in a new thought into his mind, he can't help but process it, which then distracts him from what his original thought was, and it starts to cause like a glitch in the system. It's just the way how his mind operates, and that's not a dig at Nick. It's just what I realized, like, because that's the only time that he really ever gets angry at Wild is when Wild throws in another thing, and Nick is like kind of like, wait, you're saying something else right now, and like you're distracting from what I'm trying to say, and it just I just like saw there's another guy who I really like. He's very similar to that. Like, he has to just stay on one track, and if someone else tries to bring something else in the mix, it's kind of just like you see that it's like a bug in the system. And it's clearly Nick is very analytical and obviously intelligent, and so like those are the things that can happen. It just becomes more difficult to kind of juggle all of these various points. So that just kind of like clicked in my own mind, witnessing, watching that unfold. But in terms of doing this with the Raiders, listen, I can see this going in so many different directions, and I can spin it both positive and I can spin it both negative. From just a story standpoint, like Brew was saying, yeah, it's a pretty cool story, right? Like, especially if you're not a Raiders fan and you're just like kind of on the outside looking in, and the Raiders aren't your team, yeah, then it's interesting because you're like, ooh, yeah, a reunion's always fun. Could they do damage? And he gets to go up against the Broncos twice a year, going up against Sean Payne, like, Bo Nix, like that's kind of interesting, etc., etc. But in terms of practicality, I do agree though with what Nick is saying in terms of that there is major benefit of bringing a grown-up like Russell Wilson. It's hard to know what this team is going to look like. What moves are they going to make? What is the process? Are they trying to turn this thing around immediately and win now? Or are they like, hey, you know what? We're going to be on like kind of a 2-3 year track right here. It really all depends. Are they willing to struggle with a young quarterback? Again, make no mistake about it. Yeah, you had Jaden Daniels, and the Washington Commanders were able to immediately have success, but Jaden Daniels is truly a special quarterback, and they got the perfect offensive coordinator for him. So it was a perfect match. The perfect match. Listen, do I think Jaden Daniels would have been better than Caleb Williams with the Chicago Bears? I do. Mainly because of Jaden's composure. But do I think that Jaden Daniels, if you put him on the Chicago Bears team, that he leads that team with that coaching staff and that roster to the NFC Championship game? I do not. Do I think Caleb Williams would have been significantly better with the Washington Commanders and Cliff Kingsbury and Dan Quinn and that roster? I do. Do I think that Caleb Williams would have led that team to the NFC Championship game? I'm not so sure about that. Probably not is what my first, gut reaction would be to that. And that doesn't mean that, Caleb Williams is going to end up being inferior to Jaden Daniels. It's just in terms of this first year of what you're seeing. But coaching, roster, etc. really, really matters. So if they get another quarterback, especially now like a rookie quarterback, like you need to have a plan. And I don't know what that plan is. You need to have a plan, and you also need to have a special quarterback. And I don't know what their ability is to get a special quarterback. The Sam Darnold move is definitely interesting because you'll get him for cheap, relatively speaking, for what a quarterback is. I can't see him getting any more money than like a Baker Mayfield got. And then that would be kind of like a pretty big thing, because I do think Sam Darnold is a legit quarterback and a good quarterback. So if you get him for cheap and you build a great team around him and you have the right coaching staff around him, you're going to win some games. He's already proven that. He's already proven that. So, and again, if you're going to get a quarterback who can win some games and get him for cheap, it's, outside of getting a true superhero quarterback, that's as good as it gets. But you find yourself in a problem when you have a good quarterback, but you pay him top dollar. You pay him like he's Mahomes, which is what the Dallas Cowboys do with Dak. That's how you run yourself into trouble. Now, I do know that a lot of Raiders fans really do love Aiden O'Connell. I don't know if they've soured on him yet or if they still believe in him. I don't really know. My opinion is they probably do not want Russell Wilson, based off of the conversations that I've had. A lot of Raiders fans, they didn't even want Dak Prescott when there was rumors about maybe Dak would go to the Raiders, and they were like, nope. Like, they were emphatically, like, that was one of my first Raiders videos, and they were like, absolutely not. So I just can't imagine they would want anything to do with Russell Wilson. But I am curious what, I kind of do need some like an updated, opinions from Raiders fans in terms of like, what do you guys want from a quarterback position. I do think that the Pete Carroll hire is a great hire because I do think this team needs stability and kind of like a culture readjustment, and they can get on the right track. But again, a lot of that is also going to be depend on the quarterback situation as well. And although I do think Russ can have a significantly positive impact on the Raiders, it all depends on what you're looking to do. Are you looking to just right this ship? Are you looking to rebuild something special for the foreseeable future? What are you trying to do? Are you okay with struggling for another season? Is Max Crosby going to be okay for going through rookie growing pains? These are all the questions that you have to figure out, not only, from a franchise in terms of, ownership and management, Tom Brady, whoever, what are the expectations for these next couple of years? And then what are the expectations from the existing players? What will they be happy and okay with? What will they be willing to accept? Because that's also part of this puzzle as well. So that's why I don't think the answer is necessarily an easy answer. You have to figure out, where do people see this team next season and what is the direction that they're looking to go into. But again, we saw the Broncos struggle. They get a new coach, didn't like the quarterback, got a new quarterback, boom, in the playoffs. Going toe-to-toe with Joe Burrow, going toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes on the road. Like, things can change fast. You need the coach, you need the quarterback. You need the coach, you need the quarterback. That's the mantra. You need the coach, you need the quarterback. Now, it's a little bit different if you have an offensive head coach, because then you could say, Pete Carroll, what do you want? Can you continue the magic of Sam Darnold or not? And Pete Carroll could be like, yeah, absolutely. I love what he did with Kevin O'Connell. I know exactly how to unlock him. And actually, I think I could even bring it to another level. With Pete Carroll being a defensive head coach, you don't have that luxury. You're not going to be like, hey, Pete Carroll, can you win with Sam Darnold? And he's going to be like, yeah, of course I can, because it's defense, and you're like, okay, so that's where things change a little bit. So yeah, I'm curious to see what moves they make. But at the same time, if you actually really build a true defensive culture and a dominant defensive team, which we know that Pete Carroll can do, if you then have a quarterback like Sam Darnold, ask him to do significantly less, have him just manage these games. Again, we've seen literally Tom Brady do it. We've seen Patrick Mahomes do it. You can win. You can literally win Super Bowls playing conservatively, offensively, and being a defensive-led team. Not only can you do it, but you can do it in this era. And in fact, I feel like that might be the way to beat a team like the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers and the Broncos when you're in such an offensively dominant division. Is to be like, okay, that's what they're all doing. We kind of have to go in this other direction now. Because we're not going to be able to I'm not going to be able to get a quarterback and hope that I'm going to be able to draft a quarterback that is now going to be able to outduel Patrick Mahomes, who's in his prime with Andy Reid. That's probably not going to be the way how we're going to beat them right now. And lo and behold, both of the, all the games that we've seen the Raiders or the Broncos, either beat the Chiefs or play against the Chiefs great. It was this ugly defensive matchup. And it was all kind of like, take care of the ball, be smart offensively. We're going to muddy the waters here. It's going to be our defense that's going to slow things down here. So it also kind of makes sense. So we will see. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Raiders? Do you want them to kind of go after and get Russell Wilson, or do you want a different move? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.